Ugh. Where am I? Took you long enough. Do I know you? Not sure. I've just been sitting here. Sitting here doing what? Waiting. For what? For you to ask the right question. And what's that? You ever wonder how the most absurd ways people got rich in history actually worked? That's specific. You've got time? Fine, hit me. Let's start simple. Early 2000s. A guy decides he doesn't like spreading his money around. No index funds, no diversification, nothing at all. Just one company. Apple Incorporated. And I don't mean today's Apple, the trillion-dollar Apple. I mean back when it was still fighting for relevance. So just a tech stock? Just a tech stock. He moves almost everything into it. Savings, retirement, future, all tied to one ticker. But that's not a strategy, that's gambling. That's also what most people said. The logic was simple. He believed in the products, the design, the direction. He thought the company would change consumer tech. So he didn't doubt himself or spread any risk. He just held. Then the iPod takes off. Then the iPhone launches. And finally, earnings climb. And the stock starts multiplying. So he was right? He was early. That's the same thing. It isn't. Thousands of people concentrated into single companies in the early 2000s. Most of those companies don't exist anymore. Yeah, but we don't talk about them. Exactly. The ones who survived became stories. The ones who didn't became silence. So what's the problem? He won. He did. But the advice you'd extract from that story would be, put everything into what you believe in. And that advice works if you happen to pick the one that survives. So it wasn't genius? It was concentrated risk that didn't collapse. There's a difference. Huh? That one at least had logic behind it. What's that mean? It's 1975. A man sells rocks. Not rare rocks, not decorative rocks, not gemstones, just rocks. Ordinary stones placed inside small cardboard boxes with breathing holes and a care instruction manual. No. Yes. Gary Dahl. He's got an advertising background and a dry sense of humor. He'd joke with friends about how rocks are the perfect pets. No feeding, no walking, no mess. And it clicked for him. So he decides to actually sell them. You're telling me people paid for this? They did. Millions of them. For a few dollars each. The packaging was clever. The writing was funny. And the timing was perfect. Mid-70s recession. People wanted something light, something harmless. So they bought rocks. That's not investing, that's a prank. No, it really was a product. And for a few months, it made him a millionaire. So what's the advice here? Sell useless things? If you extract the wrong lesson, yes. Sell something worthless, package it well. And for him, in that moment, it worked. So why can't someone just do that again? Because the joke only lands once. Novelty has a lifespan. Once everyone sees the trick, it stops being clever. It becomes obvious. So he wasn't a genius either? He understood attention. It's the same thing today, really. People haven't changed. And he moved faster than imitation. That's insane. Not yet. Let's remove even the product now. What do you mean, remove the product? That one sold a rock. This one sold nothing. It's 1720, London. Pure chaos of different companies forming overnight, trying to grab a piece of the cake. Then this company appeared. Its official description reads, "A company for carrying out an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody to know what it is. That's a joke. It wasn't. No product listed, no plan disclosed, no explanation given. Just promise. And people invested? They did. Shares were offered in the morning. Money was raised within hours. In hours? Yup, in hours. This was during the same speculative wave that inflated the South Sea Company, the company that was supposed to control South American trade. Excitement was everywhere. Prices were rising. Fortunes were being made daily. People didn't want details. They wanted in. So, what was the business? There wasn't one. The founder collected the subscription money and disappeared. You're telling me the advice here is just invest in things you don't understand? No, not exactly. Buy early, ask later. That phrase only works when you're not the one buying. And for the person who created it, it worked. That's not genius, that's theft. It was legal long enough. So why doesn't that work now? Because manias are specific to moments. When greed outruns caution, nonsense becomes credible. So it only works if the crowd's irrational. It only works while the crowd is. That's worse. We're not done yet. That one required a crowd. This one required confidence. Late 1700s, Massachusetts. There's a fella there called Timothy Dexter. No formal education, limited business training, widely considered not particularly bright. That sounds promising. Hold on. He starts making trade decisions that make no sense. He was mocked into shipping coal to Newcastle, so he does it. That's a coal town, right? Exactly. Someone else told him to send warming pans to the Caribbean, the things used for drying bed sheets before sleeping. But the Caribbean, that's tropical. Exactly. He exports mittens to warmer climates. He buys goods others say are worthless. Every move looks backward. So he lost everything. Nope. The coal shipment arrived during a miners' strike. Local supply was disrupted. He sold it. The warming pans were repurposed as molasses ladles. They sold. The so-called useless goods found unexpected buyers. Over and over, decisions that should have failed didn't. That's not strategy. No, it is not. It's timing colliding with accident. So what's the advice here? Be confidently wrong? No, that'd just be a lie. Ignore expertise, consensus, even logic. And occasionally, reality bends in your favor. So he was lucky, frequently. And that made him rich? It did. So why can't someone just do that again? Because you're not hearing about the thousands who tried equally irrational trades and collapsed. You're hearing about the one who survived. So stupidity worked. Stupidity survived. There's a difference. That's worse than the fake company. We're getting there. That one was an accident. This one was awareness. 1849, California. Gold is discovered. Word spreads fast, and everyone is trying to get in on it. Thousands of men abandon jobs, families, stability, and head west. Not because they saw gold, because they heard about it. So they went digging. Not exactly. Most of them never found enough to justify the trip. Some never found any at all. But while they were buying picks, shovels, boots, tents, pans, someone else was selling them. Wait, that's smart. It is. That's the point. Merchants raised prices because demand exploded. Basic tools were marked up. Supplies became scarce. And the sellers didn't have to find gold. They just had to sell hope. So I should just find the next gold rush and sell the tools? And how would you know it's a rush? Well, everyone would get excited? By the time everyone's excited, margins are already shrinking. Well, it seems like it worked out for them. It worked because they were early, not because selling shovels is magic. Find the desperate crowd, supply them, and in that environment, it worked. That still works today. It works while belief outpaces outcome. Once the rush ends, demand disappears. So it's not really about gold. It never was. It was about attention and timing. So this one isn't stupid. Not in the slightest. It's colder. That's worse. Worse? Sure. Now we remove fairness. Wait, what? 1950s, United States. Two traders begin quietly buying onions. Not a few shipments, not a warehouse. Massive quantities. They also bought futures contracts tied to onions. So they just liked onions? Maybe, but they liked leverage more. By controlling supply, they could influence price. And when you influence price, you influence behavior. They accumulated so much of the available stock that they could tighten the market. Prices rose. Panic followed. So they made money when it went up? Not exactly. They had already positioned themselves to profit when it collapsed. After inflating the market, they flooded it with supply. Prices crashed. Farmers were ruined. They walked away profitable. That's not dumb. That's evil. It was legal. You're kidding. It worked so well that Congress later banned onion futures trading entirely. So that's the move? Control the supply, control the price. That was the move. Then the rules changed. But you're missing something. What? You can only corner a market when it's small enough and unguarded enough. That window closes fast. Once rules change, the game changes. So you can't just do that again. Not the same way, no. This is getting darker. We're not at the darkest yet. That one controlled supply. This one controlled trust. In 1920s Sweden, a new financial star rises. Ivar Kruger. This fine gentleman was a real scholar. Engineer, financier, polished, calm. He builds what becomes known as the Match Empire. Governments needed money after World War I. Kruger offered loans. In exchange, he secured exclusive rights to sell matches in entire countries. Matches? Like fire? Yep, the very same ones I used to light this fire in front of you. Simple product, universal demand. But the real business wasn't matches. It was bonds. Kruger issued complex securities tied to his expanding empire. Investors trusted him. So did the governments, and even banks. He presented stability in a chaotic decade. So he just built a big company? He built an image. Same one you see today on social media from rich influencers with expensive cars. So he just acted confident while everything was on fire? Exactly that. But as long as confidence held, the machine kept running, even though everything was actually falling apart. And it worked? For years, he became one of the richest men in the world. So what's absurd about that? The empire depended on perception more than profit. When questions began, confidence cracked. After his death in 1932, investigators uncovered massive irregularities. So it was fraud. Eventually. But before that, it was genius. So the move was what? Make things complicated so nobody questions them? Complexity creates authority, and authority delays doubt. You're saying it worked because people trusted him. It worked because people needed to. That's darker than onions. We're still not at the darkest. It's the 1600s. European empires are at war. Governments didn't always send fleets. Sometimes they sent permission. Letters of marque. Legal documents allowing private citizens to attack and seize enemy ships. So, pirates? Pirates, but with paperwork. So, mercenaries then? No, this was worse. They armed ships, hunted merchant vessels, seized cargo, and kept a share of the profits. That's not absurd, that's violent. It was business, risky, brutal, legal. For some of them, it made fortunes. Names were cleared, reputations polished, loot turned into estates. So the move was what? Wait for war? The move was understanding that chaos creates opportunity. When empires fight, someone always profits. That still sounds like skill. It required timing. It required permission. It required the right flag. When treaties were signed, privateers became pirates again, and pirates were hanged. So it only works while it's allowed. Exactly. This keeps getting more unreal. We haven't removed reality yet. This whole thing has actually been a process of peeling an onion. Ironic, isn't it? That one needed war. This one needed paper. Early 1820s. Gregor MacGregor, a Scottish adventurer, confident, decorated, charismatic, Casanova of the time. He announces that he has been appointed ruler of a territory in Central America, a place called Poyet. Never heard of it. Neither had anyone else. That didn't stop him. He printed official documents, designed a flag, created maps, issued land certificates, even sold government bonds tied to this new nation. Wait, government bonds? Yes, investors in London bought them. Settlers purchased land. Ships were chartered. People packed their lives and sailed. So what was Poyet actually like? A jungle. What? Yup, no developed cities, no infrastructure, no functioning government. Just wilderness. You're telling me he sold a country that didn't exist? He sold belief. And for a time, it worked. Money was raised. Land was sold. Bonds were traded. That's not absurd. That's insane. Think about it. It's the cleanest version of everything we've talked about. No product, no commodity, no army, just paper and confidence. So why did anyone believe him? Because they wanted to. New world opportunity, colonial expansion, quick fortune. So what's the lesson? There's no lesson. Just a pattern. When everyone thinks they're early, absurdity starts to look like opportunity. And history remembers the ones who got rich, not the ones who didn't survive the jungle. History erases the bodies. So, that's it? That's it. All of it was just timing? Timing, environment, belief. And luck? Sometimes. What are we supposed to do with that? Be careful which stories you admire. Some of them cost more than you think.